Hey guys, Scott here. Mid-chapter patch just hit, and I would just want to spend pretty much the entire video talking about Trickster. There's a couple of other little things that changed. A lot of cosmetics are cool. Facial appearances of a lot of survivors are very cool. I asked, and Deadheart apparently seems to be a bit more functional on console, so that's cool. A lot of other, cool changes like that, but I really want to focus on Trickster. And they made a couple of pretty significant changes to him from PTB to live, most of which I agree with, but some of which I don't. So they nerfed his knife count by quite a bit, by basically 25%. So they took 25% of his knives away, which is pretty significant. And I kind of like this change, actually, because when you think about it, my main problem with Trickster was that he's basically just a less punished Huntress. But now he has significantly less knives, so he can't just YOLO spam things as much as he wants. You have to be a bit smarter with throwing your knives, and you don't have as many potential downs. Now, you can still down more people than Hunters can before having to reload. You can down almost 4 people total, basically 3.5, whereas Hunters can only do 2.5. So it is more in line with Huntress now, so that actually does kind of address the issue of there being less risk, just YOLO throwing hatchets and stuff like that. So I actually really like that change. Now, this one is weird. Maximum knife rate of fire bonus after throwing 8 knives is 25%. Was 33%. When was it 33%? Because when Trickster was released, it was 25%, and he got his first initial buff, it was still 25%. When was it actually 33%? I don't remember it ever even being this point. Maybe they did it on like the PTB, and then they switched it back, because it says from the PTB to live, so maybe this was a change in the PTB that I noticed. But comparing like regular Trickster, old Trickster, to now new Trickster, his throwing knife is the same. It's always been 25%. I think they just bumped it up to 33% in the PTB, and then they went back on it. So nothing really was changed there, at least if all of the numbers are correct from the previous patch where it was 25% max bonus. So I'm not sure that's even something I noticed when I played a couple of games today just to test them out. So that's whatever. They did nerf his add-ons to give him additional knives too by quite a bit, by more than half. So that is a pretty significant nerf to those add-ons as well. They were kind of no-brainer add-ons to run. Being able to have 75 knives meant you can down the entire team before having to reload several times. I think that was kind of ridiculous, so I'm kind of glad about that change as well. The one thing I'm not particularly happy with is, okay, so they reduced the amount of knives that you can carry by quite a bit, but you still have to hit 30 knives to hit main event, which I think kind of doesn't jive with the change that they made to the max knives. I think they should possibly lower that to like 25 or 20 to activate main event, because a lot of the time you still have to M1 people. If you're in a map, basically any map that Huntress is bad at, he's bad at, and a lot of the time you have to just M1 people on certain high wall tiles or rock loops that have no line of sight, things like that. Sometimes you have to M1, and if you have to hit over half of your inventory of knives, more than half, to get your main event active, and then it sort of goes away when you just whack somebody. It makes it so main event is becoming not very commonly occurring again. At least in the games that I played, I didn't get main event very often at all, because sometimes you just have to M1 people and then you lose a lot of it. So I think they should possibly look at changing main event to require a bit less lives or knives now. I think the change to reduce the max knives is good, but they need to sort of adjust things around that. I think separating him from Huntress is main event. Huntress doesn't have a super powerful ultimate ability like Trickster does, so I think they should focus on that a bit more if they want to, I still think they should have gone a completely separate direction with these buffs, by the way. But, we have to accept this is what's happening right now. I think they should change main event to require a couple of less knives, or make it so you lose less when you M1 people. Either way, I think that would be a better change. But overall, I think these changes are better. It makes it so he's a bit more punished and puts him more in line with Huntress. He's basically a Huntress that requires less aim, but has more options to shoot, basically. However, Huntress can be more beneficial on certain scenarios like Shack, where you need just 1 second to see them. So they definitely have their strengths and weaknesses. I think he has a bit more of a niche now, but I still say Trickster is going to end up being the definitive kill you in the open killer. And so when you have a killer that is the kill you in the open killer, kind of like Leatherface, right? But even windows will still counter Leatherface, where with Trickster, if you're in the open and all you have is a window, it doesn't really matter. So I think he's going to be cemented as the just kill you in the open killer. He's going to be the person that punishes you the most for just being in the open. And that's going to come into account, especially when you have camping tricksters. That's, I think, the thing I'm most worried about. His ability to camp people is second to none. He's basically up there with Leatherface in terms of being able to instantly down the unhooker and the unhooked. If he has main event, he can down the entire team as they try to unhook. Like, they're all going to die. So I'm just still worried about the fun aspect of the killer. Balance-wise, I think he's fine. I think he's actually in a pretty okay spot balance-wise. I still think he has no map pressure, which is a shame, and they needed to give him something from that. But really, it's the fun thing that I'm mostly concerned about. That's really all I've ever been concerned about with Trickster. And I don't think these changes really change anything about that. He's still going to be extremely strong in the open and in low loops. Like, if survivors are on low loops or in the open, there's absolutely nothing they can do. If they're at very, very tall, claustrophobic loops, like indoor maps, things like that, there's basically nothing the Trickster can do, kind of like Huntress. And it's just going to feel shitty for everybody at all times, basically. So, yeah, I'm definitely not a huge fan of the direction they went. But as far as the changes that they made in the PTB to Alive, I think the knife reduction was good. I think they just need to adjust main event to require less knives to compensate for it, and it'll be in an acceptable position. But that's about it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to be playing him probably more, but today I'm still kind of sick right now. And I still am waiting for my new monitor, so we'll see. But that's about it. Those are my thoughts so far. Yeah, thanks for watching.